Let's bring in Democratic Congressman Greg Landsman of Ohio now. And Congressman, you were one of just 4 Democrats to vote against the House War Powers resolution on Iran back in March. And now you say you're going to vote for this latest measure. What changed your mind?
Well, nothing really. I mean, I had supported a war powers resolution that gave the president 30 days, as you mentioned. The president usually gets 60. With this president, I thought it was really important to say 2 things. One, the military objectives of destroying the weapons shield that had been built up around the enrichment facilities, that was really important. Those were targeted strikes. That would take a few weeks, and then he should be done. He obviously failed at bringing this to an end, and so now he needs to come to Congress to do anything moving forward.
Do you regret your initial vote?
I thought it was really important for me to say this regime has been absolutely terrible. It would be catastrophic for them to get this enrichment work back up. So, dealing with the weapons shield was really important. And what has happened is the military succeeded. It took a couple weeks. They succeeded. Trump failed. Trump failed at communicating, what was, at stake and why this was important and what the mission was. He failed at building a coalition. No coalitions were built. Totally failed. And then he failed at bringing this to an end when the objectives had been achieved.
So how do you see today's House vote going? Do you see any Republicans joining you and switching their votes from against the War Powers resolution to now voting for it?
Yeah, I think a few will, and I think it'll pass. And in some ways, I'm glad that this is on the floor today, and that I get to vote for it. And hopefully, because I had said, look, the targeted attacks, that was important. What you've done since, not good. Hopefully, I have more credibility, and when this thing passes, it sends a really strong message.
Your confidence that it could pass the House today is striking, given how these past votes have gone and what we saw in the Senate. We'll be watching closely. I know that vote is expected sometime in the next hour or so. Congressman, it's been 50 days almost since the president launched this war. And I want to show just a reminder of all of the timelines that the president himself has given, initially saying it would last as long as necessary, then at one point 2 to 3 weeks, also that it's very close to over. But here we are, still with no clear end in sight. What is your biggest concern right now?
A couple things. I mean, I think one, he's so unreliable. He's proven that he's becoming more and more unreliable every day. Again, his objective, he was supposed to communicate effectively. You just demonstrated, I think, very compellingly how he failed completely at communicating this. It was a few weeks. Again, to destroy the weapons shield that was being built up around the enrichment facility. That's it. No regime change, no troops on the ground, no mission creep. He failed completely. And so, I think it's incumbent on the administration now to work with us to bring this to an end. He cannot do this by himself.
Meanwhile, the war of words over the Iran war has pulled in the Pope, with the president blasting Pope Leo repeatedly after he criticized the war and called for peace. The Pope says he doesn't want to get into politics, but is still speaking out. I know you have a master's in theological studies from the Harvard Divinity School. You're the former director of the Office of Faith-Based Initiatives in Ohio. Congressman, what do you make of this ongoing back and forth?
It is insane to me that a sitting president and quite frankly now the vice president would attack the Pope. JD and I both grew up in Butler County, Ohio. I represent Cincinnati. JD's kind of from Cincinnati. Faith is a big part of our lives. For a lot of us, it's a huge part of our lives. We have a huge Catholic community. It's an amazing community. We've been unclear about where JD stands. Like, what does he really care about? Wealth and power. He clearly cares about those things, but he claims he's got this Catholic faith. And when push came to shove, he jumped in and started to criticize the Pope too, and stick to theology, which is what the Pope is doing. The Pope is saying, lifting up Scripture and saying, blessed are the peacemakers, which is what Scripture says.
Just this morning, the Pope tweeted, "Woe to those who manipulate religion and the very name of God for their own military, economic, and political gain, dragging that which is sacred into darkness and filth." Should more people of faith follow the Pope's lead and speak out against the war?
Yeah, 100%. Again, for me, it was destroy the weapons shield so that we can prevent a war, we can prevent a catastrophic event. The Pope is exactly right. I mean, it is so dangerous for people to lift up religion and sort of put it on something, that's, about war or military or this kind of pursuit. I mean, it's so dangerous. That's a theocracy. That is so problematic, and it's the kind of religious fundamentalism that we're fighting against with the regime in Iran. So, yes, the Pope is right, 100% right.
Congressman Greg Glanzman, thank you for being here with us. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.